Hello YouTube. I just want to make a video quickly talking about my League Start plans for 3.28, the Mirage League, as well as just what I'm generally planning to do. So, I'm a pretty big fan of KB, and in the patch notes, my baby Elementalist and my baby Penance Brand were both just completely shot in the head and just got nerfed insane amounts. So I was thinking the best thing that I want to do this league is to do a K-Bok build, and the specific build that I'm interested in doing is actually this Kinetic Blast Necromancer that Jung Roan did last league. So Jung Roan made this build last league. It is a very strong build, very powerful. It has 90 max res. It has 74 spell block, 64 block. It has 16% first against chaos. It has suppression cap. It has 9k ES, all sorts of things like that. It's a very, very powerful build. There's one thing that I wanted to play around with because it's now a new league. We are having a new unique, Screams of the Desiccated. And this unique is extremely interesting for a few reasons. As far as we are aware, this will roll a random offensive shrine and random defensive shrine, which in theory that should mean that we can have access to acceleration shrine and resistance shrine. So just baseline, these two shrines are extremely powerful, giving us 50% all res, 10% all maximum res, 30% all res, 30% action speed. But on top of that, you can also then add a 30% shrine effect shrine effect from your Atlas tree, which then instead makes this 75 all res, 15 max res, and 75 action speed. But then on top of that, we can also use items or uniques that increase our shrine effect. Now, as far as I'm aware, there's only two items that increase the shrine effectiveness, which is the Gull, which gives us 75% increased effective shrine buffs on you, as well as it gives you Create Lesser Shrine when you kill an enemy, which there's some very powerful lesser shrines in this game. You know, you can get lesser acceleration, lesser brutal. That's kind of it. I mean, also, I guess lesser Imperial Shrine, because it also gives you ES. Like, there's some really nice ones that you can get that are pretty powerful. And it gives you 75% increase effect of shrines. So if you have this 75% increase effect, and you have the 75% from the Atlas, you're actually seeing 125% increase effect, which means that we are getting, instead of 10 max res, we're getting 22 max res. Instead of 50 all res, we're getting 112 all res. And instead of 30% action speed, we're getting 112% action speed. Now, granted, this does come at the cost of all 3 utility flasks, as well as essential belt slot, because this item as a standalone for our build is kind of useless. The only thing it is it gives int. Both the Chaos Res and Maximum Life doesn't do anything because we are playing Chaos Inoculation, and that's not something I would ever give up. But with that being said, it's very strong because it also allows us to go with the Nameless Bloodline, and the Nameless Bloodline has this slot, the Unseen Hand, to have +1 ring slot at the cost of not having utility flasks. So even though we can't have utility flasks, because of this Screams of Desiccated, we either way cannot be affected by any flasks. Now, I do want to note something about that is, it says we can't be affected by flasks and we can't use utility flasks, which means instant recovery flasks, such as life flasks and mana flasks, are still going to be fine to use, as long as they just aren't over a duration. And the one that comes most to mind for me of that is going to be Dodre's Elixir. Now, getting charges in this build is not that difficult. We actually have easy access to every charge type, but we can save those points by instead going Dodre's Elixir. Now, this is a mana flask, but fortunately for us, we don't actually use mana in the build. We are doing Energy Shield instead of mana. Like, all of our skills cost Energy Shield, not mana. And because of that, whenever we use this, it's not going to do anything. It's just instantly we're going to use it, and it's just instantly going to fall off, so it won't make us lose our shrines. We are going to lose 80% of our ES in one go, which is rather tough, but we do have access to quite a lot of ES regen and ES leech on hit, which should compensate for that. Yeah, here. We have access to 1,600 ES leech on hit, and we have 600 ES regen per second, which is extremely powerful. So we should be able to, use this when it's safe to use, and the charges do last for 10 seconds. So we have quite a bit of leeway with when we retap it. On top of that, we also have access to Blunderboar. Now, in my build personally, Blunderboard does not fit in. I have no way to use it. This does give you access to 75% increased shrine effect, but it requires you to have 680 to 880 strength. So the only builds that can realistically use this would be like a shrine stacker, sorry, a strength stacker, or a build using Supreme Ostentation. But because we are doing Kinetic Blast, we are also doing mana stacking. Because our Wisps of Infinity has this line that gives us added chaos damage per 100 mana. So it's extremely important for us to have as much mana as possible to get as much flat damage as possible. And this item on its own is more than double our damage. It is extremely, extremely powerful and very important for us to have. And to scale it, we just scale mana. On top of all of that, we also have with something else that scales with mana, but I just can't remember off the top of my head, unfortunately. So we're just going to ignore that. It doesn't really matter. Whispers is like the main thing we're doing. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the Whispers Infinity gives chaos damage. We are doing first converted to chaos because we have access to Overwhelming Malice, which gives us Unholy Might on crit. And Unholy Might on crit gives you 100% of your first damage is converted to chaos, and you have 25% chance to apply Wither on hit. Now, our bolt cannot do any elemental damage because we are using Awaken the Void and Manipulation. So having Unholy Malice also then will make us immune to first damage. There's of course the problem of you first need to trigger it on your critical strike, and you might die to first reflect trying to trigger it. Which that is an issue that, you know, might make me just not run first reflect maps. Also, we have access to the third ring slot. I just made a generic helical. Realistically, I think in this build, what you would do is you would make a 3-mod helical ring and then mist it. You would do like mana, int, and crit multi, and then just mist it. And just keep misting it until you get like 3 positive mist. But at the same time, if you do that, you do need to do it twice, because we need to have chevrons on our right ring, on the ring slot number 2. Because on the right ring, it gives us the 6% ES regen per second, which is really nice, really powerful. And it gives us the 300 max mana, as well as 70 int. And like, if we unequip this, we lose all of our ES regen, which is probably going to feel extremely bad. And in general, just damage-wise, this is actually better than a helical ring, even if crit multi. Even if a misted helical might be technically better, it's like, this is so much like convenience in it that I would never drop it. Also, something else to note about the Gull. So I already mentioned that we're going to be using the Gull. Because we're using a unique item, I'm not exactly sure what tier the Gull is, but I'm pretty sure it's a rather common item. I think it's like a more common item. We can try to get one with a good implicit on it. We can get +1 power charge, for example. We can get Arm R on it and try to, maybe we can fit an extra aura in with that. I would need to test it out. We can add, let's see. We could do plus levels to aura gems, plus Arm R, for example. That could be a very potent combo, but most likely not really something that we're interested in, because all of our mana is getting spent on Spellslinger either way. Because we're right now, all of our mana is being consumed by Spellslinger for Tornado and Bone Offering, as well as Spellslinger for DD plus Desecrate. Now, all of this is being said is good and all that. How do you translate this into a League starter? Because obviously this gear is not going to be League start ready. Whispers Infinity is going to be rather expensive. I don't know how much it's going to be, but I think a friend of mine said they bought for 20 of last league, so it's fairly cheap. But like, we don't know how much this new belt is going to cost, and it's most likely going to be on par for Mage Blood in terms of price. And if it's more expensive than Mage Blood, we would just instead run a Mage Blood. Prior to that, we can't just follow Jung's progression from last season. He made multiple videos talking about his progression. But an option that I'm very highly considering right now, which is what I did last league, is actually starting Exang Minor. Even though Elementalist, like the Golem most from Elementalist got nerfed, I still think that going Elementalist with Leech of the Primordial, taking these Golem nodes here, and running 4 Golems is extremely, extremely powerful early game. It just makes your like weak low gear character just feel 50 times better. And then we can run Cold Convert with Grim Sorrows as well as Heat Shiver, and pretty much just have like 10 million damage on League Sword. Just have a ton of damage, and be able to like do all of our Void Stones, do all of the content, farm T16s very easily. Last league day 1, I was throwing T17s with Exang Minor Cold Convert on Elementalist. So it does seem like this is an option where I think what I'm going to be doing to make this decision up before I make like any build guides is I'm going to be doing test runs of both. I'm gonna see how it feels doing like 4 stones on K-Bog, and then I'm gonna see how it feels to do 4 stones on Exam Mines. If I feel like the time I save from playing Exam Mines compensates for the fact that I then need to do a massive respec, where I swap from all my things on Elementalist to Necromancer, I need to do a bunch of respec points, I need to like change a bunch of gear around. If I feel like the time I save is gonna be worth it, then I will make my guide for Exam Miner. Otherwise, I'll just make a generic Wander guide. But with all of that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I hope you guys are excited as I am. I went from thinking I'm not even gonna play PoE anymore, just like being a complete doomer mood, to completely turning around my mood and just absolutely being excited for it. I think this league is gonna be incredible. It's just gonna be so amazing. And I'm here for it and I'm fucking excited for it. But that's gonna be it from YouTube. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I'll see you all again next time. Bye, YouTube. Bye-bye. Meow.